For decades, the US government denied the existence of Area 51, a remote base in the Nevada desert, shrouded in secrecy, hidden behind mountains, and protected by armed guards, motion sensors, and high-tech surveillance. But over the years, strange leaks, eyewitness testimonies, and eerie encounters have painted a disturbing picture of what really happens behind those barbed wire fences. What lies beneath the desert floor? What horrors have unfolded in those secret hangars? Tonight, we dive into terrifying encounters and chilling stories connected to the world's most mysterious military base. In the summer of 2018, two hikers, Mark and Darren, set out on a weekend trip near the Nevada Test and Training Range. They knew they were close to Area 51, but they never planned to go near the perimeter. Or so they thought. They had mapped out a hiking trail that was miles away from the restricted zone. However, as the sun began to set, they realized something was wrong. Their GPS was malfunctioning. It kept rerouting them in circles. That's when they heard it. A deep, mechanical humming, like an aircraft engine, but unlike anything they had ever heard before. Looking up, they spotted a dark, triangular object hovering silently above them. Within seconds, it shot away at an impossible speed. The two men, now fully aware they had seen something they weren't supposed to, turned back. But before they could get far, blinding floodlights appeared behind them. A convoy of black SUVs emerged from the darkness, blocking their path. Armed men in military uniforms stepped out, demanding their identification. They were forced to the ground, handcuffed, and blindfolded. Mark later recounted that during the ride, he could hear a strange clicking sound. It wasn't the sound of a radio. It was organic, like an insect communicating. Then a deep, guttural breathing. Someone, or something, else was in that vehicle with them. They were eventually released miles away in the desert with a warning. Forget what you saw. If you talk, you disappear. A former employee at Area 51, who refused to reveal his identity, claimed to have worked as a night shift technician in an underground facility. According to him, the base extends far deeper than the public knows. He spoke of entire underground cities, massive research labs, and containment areas. He was never given full clearance, but one night, he took a wrong turn. He found himself in a hallway unlike any other. It was lined with reinforced glass panels, and behind them were things he could not explain. Creatures, some humanoid, others barely recognizable as living beings. One in particular stood out, a tall, thin figure with elongated limbs and large, sunken eyes. It wasn't moving. At least, that's what he thought, until its eyes snapped toward him. It let out a low, bone-chilling screech. Suddenly, alarms blared, and security stormed the hallway. Before he could react, he was grabbed and injected with something. He woke up in his bunk the next morning. His access had been revoked. His supervisor told him he had suffered an accident and must have been hallucinating. But he knew what he saw, and he was not alone. A man named Jason, a long-haul trucker, was driving through Nevada when his vehicle suddenly shut down. He was near Groom Lake Road, an area notoriously close to the base. His radio crackled with strange, garbled voices. Not English, not any language he could recognize. A shadow passed over his truck. He looked up and saw nothing. But then, he felt it. A presence. His headlights flickered. The air became unbearably heavy, like the atmosphere itself was pressing down on him. Then, out of the darkness, a tall figure emerged. It had no visible face, just a featureless black void where eyes should be. It didn't walk, it glided. Jason tried to start his engine. The figure placed a long, spindly hand on his windshield. And then, he woke up. It was morning. His truck was parked in a completely different location, miles away from where he had broken down. The clock on his dashboard showed that 5 hours had passed. But to Jason, it had only felt like seconds. Area 51 stands as one of the most impenetrable secrets on Earth. The government insists it's merely an aircraft testing site, but the whispers tell a far darker story. Hikers who vanish without a trace. Workers who glimpse things never meant for human eyes. Travelers who wake up miles from where they last stood, with hours unaccounted for. What lurks beneath the desert floor? What unspeakable experiments unfold in the dead of night? And the most chilling question of all, what happens to those who dare to get too close?